Good morning, everybody. I'm going to give everybody a minute to get logged on. And while they're doing that, I'm going to finish something up. If you're changing your name to your character, go ahead and put your real name in parentheses after it, just so in case people need to know who you are.
This is Zoe.
Helps if I unmute. As people are rolling in, I am going to screen share really quickly. So what I did to help out the program committee is I created a form, and I just sent you all an email announcement, and there's also an announcement on Blackboard where you all will submit all your abstracts. So for some of you, your character's only supposed to make one speech, and so you only have to fill this out once. For others of you, your role sheet will say, you know, you should present your research, but then you also should make a candidate speech to be president, things like that. So in this case, you would fill this out twice, once for each speech. You know, just basic name up here, your character's name, the type of speech it is, the title of your talk, give it whatever title you want. Sometimes your role sheet will just give you one. And then your abstract should be 200 words or less. And you, again, want to give a preview of what you'll say, but don't give everything away. So I will talk about this general concept, including X, Y, and Z. Your character sheet might specify which year you're supposed to give your speech, in which case that's here. And this is just a reminder, if it's the one you want me to grade, then actually turn it in on Blackboard too. So even if your character has to give 3 speeches, I'm only going to grade one of the abstracts. So that means make one abstract really good and the other ones can just be sort of more, you know, surface. And so, you know, turn in your best one to me via Blackboard. And just to show you all real quick where that is, if you go to defining the mind on our menu on Blackboard, it's the first thing right there. And I also put the abstract submission for the program committee there too, just to kind of remind you. So it's a weird position where like you're submitting these things to the conference, right? But then you also, I need to grade them. So we're putting them in both places just to make sure they can serve both those purposes. Good question to Hope/Judd. Yes, I am grading your speeches. And let me, I know I have it open, I just need to find it. Here, I will screen share the syllabus because it has this information. So here are instructions for your abstract. which is due tonight. So 200 words or less, you get 20 points for it. It's pretty straightforward. Again, just sort of give a quick summary of what you're going to talk about. Now, Monday by class time, you're going to turn in a 2 to 3 page summary of your strategy. This will also get graded. So background on your person, that'll mostly come from your sheet, right? Your person's opinions, your strategy. What are you going to do? Who are you going to hang out with? What speeches are you going to make, right? How are you going to, I don't know, undermine votes, right? And then, you know, who else are you collaborating with? How does that fit together? And you get some points just for like doing spell check. But in terms of Hope's question, so it will be at least 5 days. It might end up being 6 if we use the exam time. And so you'll get 80 points throughout that for the content of your speech. So there's a place on Blackboard. You turn it in the day that you give it. And making sure that you incorporate material from the class and library sources. So I'll be able to tell if, right, if you are only reading from your character sheet, right? So you should go beyond that. I'm gonna also be grading you on just, you know, basic public speaking skills. And then also your other participation, right? Are you voting? Are you asking other people pointed questions? That's part of the fun of this, right? Things along those lines. Are you cooperating with other people? If you don't give any speech, you get a 0. So give a speech. And again, we're gonna have the first 2 days. We'll do the first year, which I think is 71. And then a week from today, we'll have a day to regroup. You know, you don't have to return in your strategy, but you might want to kind of like redo it then. And so then at the time of our exam, actually I'm making it due after in case we are doing the simulation that day. You'll basically do a reaction paper where you talk about whether your strategy worked. So, but to answer Hope's question, this piece here really gets at how I'm doing that. So like, is your speech actually, you know, making a point? Is it incorporating material from class and library sources? And do you have, you know, basic public speaking skills? And then throughout, how much are you participating? So I actually already have, if I can find it, Quinn likes to come in and go through my stuff. So I have a sheet made up with all your characters, and I actually, here's the one where I actually like check off how many times you talk and things like that. So as long as you're doing it, you know, try to talk at least once a period as your character. But you know, if you get really heated, do more. Good question to Leona/Amanda. No penalty for doing only one speech. You just for sure have to do one. And these are 5 minutes or less is what I typically say, but I would say honestly, probably they end up being 2 minutes or less, and that's fine. We have a lot to get through. I don't expect these to be 20-minute things. They're, you know, basically get your point across, 5 minutes or less. I don't time them because again, I've never had someone go over, if that makes sense. Other questions? Yes.
I sent you an email at like 2 o'clock this morning, so I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but
not yet.
I know there are several of us kind of talking. I guess I'm confused about like what we'll actually be doing like day to day, like the mechanics of it, and you know, like the committees, how that works, and just kind of like the dumbed down version, I guess, like just like the very basic, like I read through the game manual a couple times and I'm still just like, so many words. And then also another question, why does it keep saying that the panel for the homosexual one is in 1971 when it was in 1972?
Probably because the guy who wrote it wants to just kick off the...
Okay.
We take all of these games have some artistic license in them.
That's what I figured. It was creative liberty,
But we're kind of bad because they've already combined like psychiatrists and psychologists who wouldn't have conferences together anyway, right? But sometimes they have like historical figures who wouldn't have been there who are there. So yes. So here is how it will work. So typically we would all sit together and our initial president will be the one who kind of takes over for me. And they start by giving their presidential address. And then they have the agenda that the program committee and I create this morning or this weekend. And you all will have access to that too. We'll make it shareable. And then the president will introduce each person. And each person will typically get up and give their speech, but will be, I can do spotlighting. So like I have the ability, so like I'll use Debbie as an example because she is asking the question. So I can spotlight Debbie so that she can come up and everybody can see her. And then I can undo it when I remember how. Debbie stuck the rest of the time. Here, I can replace spotlights. No, I'm spotlighting. So I can do that for everyone who talks, just so we can all focus on that person. And then after each speech, you all have a chance to, oh, here we go. There's a thing that just says remove spotlight. That's easy. We will have a chance to ask each other questions. And having been to lots of psychology conferences, questions are not always exactly questions, right? Sometimes they're very like, essentially you're arguing with the person, but then at the end they'll be like, don't you think? And that's totally okay. So basically we will be sort of all watching each other's speeches and then commenting on them. And then the president will be moving us from thing to thing. Typically the way we've organized it is for we do the speeches for that year first, and then we move to, there are some business items. So there will be some things we want to vote on. And oh, that's one thing I should say too. So the game book's unclear about who's like a member that can vote. The way I've done it is just everyone in the game can vote. I'm fine with that. And then we also vote for the next year's president at the end of the meeting too.
So Dr. Myers, are we gonna like vote in the chat or?
So there is a feature where I can create polls. So I'll probably do that. So let's do this real quick. Cool. So now that I've created that, it's been a minute since I've done this, I can launch it and you all should be able to see the poll and you can vote, quote unquote. And it's really cool is that like I can see the answers come in real time. And then once it's done, I'll be able to share the results with you. So I'll do that so no one has to worry about, I'm basically like tech support and I help things go smoothly while I'm trying to grade y'all. So, you know, I'll end the polling there and then I can share the results and you all can see them. Hey, everybody could see it. Awesome.
I have another question.
Sure. Let me get to Romina's though from the chat real quick and then I'll come to you. So if your character sheet says you present a paper and you propose things, those are speeches. Okay. So it might not say make a speech about X, but if it says you present a paper or it says that you propose something, that's a speech that you'll make do that, if that makes sense.
Great. Thank you.
No problem. Okay.
Now, does this apply to everyone, regardless of if you're on a committee? Like, what if I'm on the program committee and I have those tasks too? Do I still do that too?
Exactly. Yeah, the program committee just has a little bit of extra work at the beginning and then you're done, basically. And then the other committees, you might be, you know, doing an email outside of class. That's the other thing you can do, and it's actually almost easier in Zoom, I'm realizing, is like there might be times when you want to talk to someone else about what someone's speaking about. And so if you go to the chat in Zoom, I think most people have found this, but just in case you haven't, where it says to, and it typically says everyone, if you click on that, you can actually choose one person and chat just to them. So like, you know, let's say Evelyn Hooker really wants to talk to Anne Anastasi during a speech. You could just chat that person. And I don't think I can even see it till we're done. So, what is due Monday is your summary. And then if you are someone whose speech is supposed to be in 1971, yes, you should have it ready to go on Monday, because we're never sure what's going to be Monday, what's going to be Wednesday, right? It just depends on how long people talk and how many questions people ask afterwards. If you're doing something for the business meeting for 1971, assume that will be Wednesday. Other than that, the program committee and I will sort of sort that out and go from there. And the only other thing the program committee will have to do is if people submit stuff sort of in response to what other people have done, then we will sort of update the agenda, but that'll be easy.
And Dr. Myers, I have one more question as well. So our abstract is just a summary of what we're going to say in our speech, correct?
Sort of. So it's like a preview of what you're going to say.
Okay.
You don't want to give everything away, especially if you're going to say something super controversial. So like, I included the character of Zimbardo, right? So his abstract might be something like, I'm going to present on the results of an experiment I did about prison dynamics, and like a little bit more. He wouldn't say in his abstract, like, this turned out awfully and I scarred these people for life, right? But he might mention speech.
And my second question was, do we have to do an annotated bibliography? Because this whole time I was thinking that we had to, and I have no idea where I got that from.
No.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
The writer wanted his students to know. The only thing you all have to do is on the syllabus. So for today, it's your abstract or abstracts, right? For Monday, it's your summary so that you're good to go. And then you got to give at least one speech and participate in other ways. And then the reflection after we finish. That's it.
Thank you so much.
On that. Yeah. And the day you give your speech, I think I said this already today, but turn in your biggest speech, right? The one that you had me grade the abstract for, turn in the text of your speech or whatever bullet points you're using on Blackboard as well. There's a space for that. So
yes,
we'll grade that then. I think Frank Camney had a question a while ago and I want to make sure I get back to it.
Yeah, you kind of, or it was in relation to the private chat. So some objectives are like try and get this specific person to vote with you or something. Is that something you can do through the private chat, or is that
definitely you can do it through the private chat? Or you know, if you guys get really excited about this and you want to work on it outside of class, you can email that person as your character, right? When I did this at the conference, I was with a group of people who like were super enthusiastic about this. It was like almost awkward. And they started emailing as characters like 2 weeks before the conference. And I was like, whoa. So it doesn't have to be that intense, but you can do stuff outside of class too, if you want. Alrighty, other questions? While people are thinking, I'm going to create the breakout rooms again.
Oh, I just thought of a question, Dr. Myers.
Sure.
So I kind of missed like the very beginning of class today because I was having technical difficulties, of course. So was that like Google Sheet thing? We have to submit that when? Is that about our abstracts or?
It's your abstract, so that's due tonight by midnight.
So we just submit our abstract within that?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And where is that again? Is it on Blackboard?
Yep. So you should have it in your email because I emailed you the announcement. And then it's also in the announcement and it's also where the abstract turn-in is on Blackboard. So I put it lots of
Okay.
You guys can find it.
Perfect. Thank you.
And those of you who are on the program committee have access to the spreadsheet where it'll populate so that you can pull those to make the
Okay, that sounds good.
So hopefully this year y'all will be, or this day, y'all will be able to all select the breakout rooms for yourselves. I'm creating those. And I'm going to create them for the committees this time too. So for those of you who weren't able to be here Wednesday, what we did and what I'm doing right now is we created breakout rooms that you could go into yourself. You choose which one you go to and you can move between them for the different factions. So the behaviorists, the cognitivists, and the psychoanalysts, and then our secret faction of the gay PA. And now I'm creating ones for the program committee, the research committee, and the nomenclature committee. If you all want to touch base, you can too. And then my last room I'm going to create is going to be the Dr. Myers room because my ideal is to meet with each of you individually today. I don't know if I'll be able to do that just based on how much time we have left. But I'm going to try. And if we don't do it, then I'll exchange individual emails for you. So I'm going to open all the rooms. And again, if you go down to the bottom of your screen on Zoom, there should be a thing that says breakout rooms. And then you can pick which room you want to go to. So again, there's one for the behaviorists, the cognitivists, the psychoanalysts, if you want to talk to people from your faction. Oh, I didn't make one for the independents. Hang on a sec, since no one's moved. I'm going to close them so I can add a room. I'll create one for the independents too. Woohoo! Alrighty, and then there's one for the gay PA, the program committee, the research committee, the nomenclature committee. Or if you want, you could stay in this main room and just talk to whoever and private chat each other, whatever works best for you. But I'm going to reopen them.
Yeah, this is so weird. Like I still can't like go from room to room, I guess.